It's recording now.
Alright, I'm gonna start reading it. Oh my fucking god. Anne sighed as she sat in her room staring at her
What was the
wall.
title?
The End of Time, an Anne Frank X Goku fanfic.
Written by Tom.
Okay, I'm gonna start over, right?
Alright.
Oh yeah.
Anne sighed as she sat in her room staring at her wall. She just finished writing in her diary and had nothing to do. Life was boring in the secret annex, but it was better than the alternative. It was alright talking to Peter and Margot, but they were both such quiet people. Unlike the always active Anne, all of a sudden a flash of light appeared in the room. Anne jumped back, stifling a scream. Before she could run out the closed doors, she noticed that the person who appeared in the flash was not a Nazi officer, but someone who she had never seen before. His clothes was very strange, and his and his hair was in a spiky style that was totally new to her. She stood against the wall, wary of the stranger, but he walked towards her and smiled, extending a hand. "My name is Goku," the mysterious stranger said, and nervously put her hand in his. He bent down and kissed it softly, then let go. Anne blushed, feeling something she had never felt before go off inside of her. "My name is Anne," she replied quietly. "I'm sorry for what just happened," Goku told her, "but I was caught in a time portal and deposited here. My power cells will recharge soon, but until then, I'm stuck here." Anne had no idea what the handsome visitor was talking about, but she played along. "Well, sir," she said, "you may stay in my room as long as you like." Anne blushed again as she said this, and giggled slightly. Goku looked around and then sat on the bed. "Thank you for the invitation. I'll be sure to repay you for it soon." Anne did not understand what he meant by that. However, when he spoke, she felt a warmth deep inside of her. She sat by him on the bed, staring at the man's beautiful eyes. Before she could stand it no longer, Anne leaned over and kissed the stranger on the cheek, and then pulled back quickly, not sure of what she had done. "I'm sorry," she said, as she stumbled to find the right words. The visitor smirked. "No, that's quite all right," he replied with a smile, putting one arm around her. "You know you're a very beautiful girl, but well..." Anne looked at him troubled. "What's the matter?" she said, with a sweet smile. Goku looked nervous. I'm already married," he finally managed to choke out. Anne pulled away from him abruptly. "No," she said loudly, almost in tears. "I'm sorry," he replied. Anne was furious. "Nothing ever goes right," she cries out. "I have to go now. My power cells are recharged," said Goku. Anne was in tears by now, staring at the wall so she wouldn't see Goku's face. He smiled a sad smile and disappeared in another flash, out of Anne's life forever. Anne never forgot him, though. Not until the end of time. 1 month. Well, it didn't feel like a month. To Anne Frank, a Jew hiding from the Nazis, it seemed like a year. 1 month since the fateful encounter with the mysterious man from another world, who said she only knew as Goku. The handsome stranger had stepped through time and into her life, then disappeared without a trace. Anne was almost sure that they'd never meet again, even though not one day passed without her dreaming of him. Little did she know, however, that their lives were tied by an unbreakable red string of fate. It was another boring day in the secret annex. Anne sat on the bed of her room, writing in her diary. It never occurred to her, however, that this entry would be her last. As she wrote in the quiet attic, there was a loud noise from downstairs. Her heart jumped with both fear and excitement. Was it them? The Nazis? Or could it be him? She had no idea whether to run downstairs or go to hide. That decision, however, was made for her. Her door flew open and a tall soldier was visible in the doorway. Glaring at her, the cries of her family members and friends were tuned out as Anne only thought of one thing. She stood up and followed the soldier out of her room, down the stairs and into the back of a truck. So this is it, she said, quietly to herself. I'll never see him again, my one true love, ever again. All those years of hiding, they were for naught. Then Anne realized that she left her precious diary up in her room. She broke loose from the officer and made a dash back into the shop when he removed a gun from his holster and fired a shot in her direction. Anne fell to the floor. Anne lay on the floor, feeling searing pain run through her leg, where the bullet had met its mark. The Gestapo officer menacingly moved towards her, grinning, when all of a sudden there was a blinding flash of light, causing the officer to shield his eyes. A huge cloud of smoke appeared next to Anne, blocking her from the soldier's vision. When the smoke cleared, he was in for quite a surprise. There was Goku, holding Anne in his arms, standing next to a huge metal capsule. "Goku," cried Anne. "You came back for me." Goku smiled. "Anything for you, my dear." He said, "Our love will never be lost, not until the end of time." The Gestapo officer turned tail and ran, but Goku was too quick for him. After laying Anne on the concrete, he spit on his enemy's limp body, then returned to Anne. "Here, I have something for you," Goku said as he removed a small bean from his pocket. "What on earth is this?" asked Anne. Goku smiled. Remember how ignorant she was to what was everyday life to him? "Senzu bean," he said. "Just eat it and it will cure your leg." Anne followed his instructions and popped the bean into her mouth. As the wound on her calf magically healed, "Now come on," commanded Goku. "We've got some Nazi ass to kick." Anne jumped on the mysterious Saiyan's back as he launched off into the sky. After only a few moments, the two of them arrived in Berlin. Tanks were parading down the street as Adolf Hitler himself stood on a platform overlooking it all. "Stay here," Goku said, dropping Anne in a shaded area under the tree. He then flew straight towards the parade of tanks, fist outstretched, screaming as loud as he could. The soldiers below scattered in terror while the tanks tried to aim their cannons at him. He was too quick and nimble for them, however, and opened the hatch of a nearby panzer, then headed inside after dispatching of the soldiers in control of the war machine. He took the wheel. He fired a round after into the crowd of Nazi soldiers, occasionally firing at the other tanks. After only minutes, there was nothing but a cloud of dust and corpses. Goku emerged from the tank's hatch, smiling now that he had done his duty. When all the dust cleared, there were only two people remaining on the parade ground: Goku, the Saiyan hero, and Adolf Hitler, the most evil man to ever walk the earth. Anne watched from nearby fearfully as she saw the two men stare at each other for what seemed like hours, her one true love and her ultimate oppressor. It had come down to this. So, Hitler said jovially, you took out all my men, however you aren't going to defeat me. Hitler then jumps down from his platform and down onto the street in front of Goku. Pulling a chain gun from the ground nearby, Goku quickly jumped behind the ruined tank as Adolf opened fire. The tank made decent cover, but it wasn't long until it would be torn apart by the hail of bullets. Goku had to act. He dashed out from the side of the tank and flew as fast as he could towards Hitler, who had no time to react. He grabbed the chain gun out of his enemy's hands and snapped it over his knee with ease. Hitler stumbled back, shocked at the turn of events. Goku smirked and said, it's come down to this. You and me, fighting like men. If you admit defeat now, I'll kill you rather painlessly. Goku had the definite advantage, or so it seemed. Hitler burst into a laugh as Goku looked on quizzically. The mustachioed man slowly rose into the air as his brown and pencil mustache turned a blonde color and his brown eyes turned blue. Goku reeled in horror. Hitler continued laughing and finally said, Goku, you came here expecting to find a madman, but instead you found a god. Hitler had become a Super Saiyan. Goku and looked on in awe, not sure what was going on. At first, it seemed like her lover would win the battle, but now she was not so sure. Goku now seemed scared of his opponents, and it was for a good reason. Hitler continued to speak. Goku, can't you see? I reached a power level 10 times anything you've ever achieved. Your fate is sealed, weakling. Even though the battle seemed unwinnable, Goku charged in. Screaming at the top of his lungs, every blow he struck with was deflected off of Hitler's rock-hard body. Hitler waited for Goku to tire himself out, then raised his fist and punched Goku. And one hand was enough. Goku was knocked across the street into a large propaganda poster of Hitler. Thudding into the cold, hard ground, Hitler laughed, thinking that victory was in his hands at last. Goku, however, was not ready to give up. Bruised and battered, he rose from the ground, limping in Hitler's direction. The Nazi leader laughed. You still want to fight? Don't you know when to give up, boy? You can hardly walk, and you expect to beat me, conqueror of Europe? Goku ignored Adolf's taunts as he continued to stumble his way forward. Finally, the two arch rivals were standing face to face. Goku stared Hitler into the eye, then screamed, oh my fucking god. This is for love. And flew up into the sky, his hair turning blonde, his eyes blue, and an aura of power radiating from him. Hitler looked on in horror at Goku. He had made the ultimate achievement. He had become a super ultra power Saiyan. Goku made a cup shape with his hands, aiming at Hitler as he belted out the words. Kame! Kame! As a beam of pure energy shot at his enemy, disintegrating the Nazi leader's body, Goku then collapsed to the ground in a heap, exhausted from the fight. 2 years later, Anne and Goku had finally reached the date of their wedding. After the battle, Anne and Goku destroyed the time machine and took a boat to Australia. They changed their names and lived new lives, ready to start over. Two young people looked into each other's eyes as they kissed, as the Reverend pronounced them man and wife. Finally, it seemed, Anne was at peace, and they would always be together until the end of time. Alright, I'm fucking done.
That was excellent.
Oh my god.
Yo,
Dude, that was pretty godly, dude.
$12 well spent, dude.
You take Memo, right?
Do it again. I give
Oh, I'm
it-
hurting right now, dude.
Oh my
Oh,
god, dude. I have
there.
I have it all recorded, dude. Don't worry.
Dude, put that on Facebook, share the link.
Oh, wait,
And take on it.
wait, what's your
That was amazing.
Or I don't know, put it on YouTube
Perfect.
or something. I
Wait,
don't know.
wait, I
Hey,
need,
dude, don't
I
fucking
need
put it
a
on.
picture from this. Can everyone mute the mic? But it's on. I need to take a snap or a snip of this. Hold on. Wait, except for you, Ton.
Oh, okay. Wait, what am I supposed to do again?
Okay, you're good to go now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you're just supposed to be unmuted because everyone muted their mic but you. Okay, we're good, guys. We're good.
Oh,
That was
okay.
amazing.
This is.
What an experience.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, put it on YouTube, dude.
I'm gonna
Oof.
stop recording now.
Okay.